right here, man. Yeah. I'll get at you when I met you.
Hey guys, Julian here. As the title suggests, and as you heard in the intro, today I'm going to be showing you how to chop vocals like Burial. I've got sort of 3 different styles of vocal chopping that he does, and I'm going to show you how to do them and how you can sort of implement them in your own tracks and just get a better understanding and expand your knowledge as a producer. So, the first sort of style of vocal chops that I have is this one. It's like this long held out note. And I hear this a lot in his tracks, you know, like he'll do it a lot in the background. It makes for a very nice sort of wash, I guess, of melodic content, if that makes any sense, over your main chords, and it can help to sort of spruce things up. It's a very good background layer. Now, the way you do it, and the way I did it at least, is I grabbed this vocal one shot. It was from some sample pack. Let me see if I can find it. Show in browser. Okay, so I grabbed this. And then I put it in a sampler or a simpler, and I pitched it down 1 semitone because it was at C sharp and I wanted it to be C. And then after that, I just gave it like a very long attack and I guess a ton of decay and a little bit of release. And I just let it sort of be like this long sound that just plays out. But it sort of like builds up in volume. You could also just make this like this, just one long thing, and then like shape it with maybe like volume automation, but I just thought this was a little bit easier way to do it. So that's what I did as far as like shaping the sound goes. Now the way that I got this sound in Simpler is I dragged the sound in. I'll do it again. I drag the sound in, and what you do is you go into this stuff over here in the bottom of Simpler, I guess, of like the little window on classic mode. You hit loop, and then I move the length and the start time a little bit. Well, not really a little bit, like a pretty good amount. And then you see it'll make a loop, but it keeps restarting. So the way you make it smooth is with this fade knob. Once you move the start and length, you can start using the fade knob. If you just don't use them at all, then the fades don't come up. But the more that you use them, the more that you can fade it. So now you can see we have this kind of thing. And you can make it shorter too. But this is a really good way to get a smooth loop. And you don't have to just do this with vocals either. You can do this with a lot of other stuff. But that was pretty much how I did that. And then after the simpler stuff, I put on a ping pong delay and a reverb, just to make it really like ambient. And like I said, I just wanted it to be like a wash. So that was pretty much how I made that. Now the next style I'm going to show you is the more sparse vocal chops, like this and this. The ones that like sort of go throughout the track, and sometimes they'll be pitched around, and sometimes there's a ton of reverb on them, sometimes there isn't. Maybe, like for example, the vocals in Archangel, like I'm trying to show you how to do stuff like that. So the way that I do these is, and I can't really show you the source material sadly, but because of copyright issues, but actually maybe I can. Oh, okay, yeah. So essentially what these kind of vocals are is you want to get like an acapella. It doesn't matter where it's from as much as like sort of the texture of it and like the way it sort of sounds. What I mean by this is Burial will a lot of times sample many different sources. Like he'll sample, you know, he's been known to sample YouTube covers of like songs. He's very well known for sampling late 90s and mid 2000s R&B, like in Archangel with the Ray J One Wish sample. You can use like, I mean, anything you can find. Like if you could sing into the mic and like come up with something cool, you just need something that's got some kind of lyrics or some kind of melodic content or something. You just need that, and then you just go in and start like chopping and moving it around. What I did to these specifically was I unwarped them, and I took this one little phrase. Let me see if I can get it to sound normal. Okay, so I took that, and I just pitched it down -3 semitones. But when you put the reverb on it, it sounds very different and very spacey and sort of ethereal. Now for this next one, I think it's a little bit more complicated. I warped it, and then I think I stretched it out a little bit and put it up +9. So here's the original of this second vocal chop with no reverb or anything. I'm gonna unwarp it and then. So that was that, and then when I warped it and pitched it, it sounds like this. So you see, I just took that little thing. I didn't even finish the word regular. I faded that out. So then when you put the reverb on it, it gets really, really obscured. And you really mostly just hear the melody and I guess sort of like the kind of a little bit of the words that she's saying, but it's very hard to tell. And that's kind of what you want to do. The idea with this technique is to just obscure it and make it like harder to tell what it is, and not necessarily just for the sake of that. I mean, it's also, to make it work with your song and make it your own and not just a sample straight out of a track. So that's kind of how you do those. I could talk more about those, but that's the real key there. That's like mostly how you do it. And you can do like more creative stuff too, because like in Archangel, for example, something he does is he takes like a phrase of vocals, like holding you, for example. He takes Ray J singing holding you, and he pitches the word holding and the word you to 2 different pitches. So that's how you get that kind of effect. Like I could do that with this one. If I do, let's say like I'll do 4, so it's -5. This might sound weird, but like now this will sound like this. So I mean, it's possible, and you can fade them into each other too. Like if you do that, you can get a lot of cool effects. This project file and these samples are for free download in the description, so I'm gonna keep this brief, but you can go in and mess with that a lot. Now the last thing I'm gonna show you is doing like the sort of talking vocal chops, where Burial will take like different snippets of people talking and sort of put them in his songs to help like get across the meaning and get across what he's trying to say without like just writing lyrics, I guess. So what I have here is I have this.
Do this right here, man. Yeah. I'll get at you when I met you.
That little sample. And what that is, it's from an episode of The Wire, Season 4, Episode 2. This is actually a sample that Burial has used before in Ghost Hardware, I believe. No, not Ghost Hardware. He used it in NYC. This is the sample he used in NYC for the like talking bit. But what I've done is I've taken it, and so I've chopped the little part out that I wanted, and I made this little thing with fades. You just drag the fade over and do that. So these 2 parts fade into each other. I've spliced 2 parts together. And then what I did was I pitched them down.
Do this right here, man.
So I'll show you the original pitch. Sounds like this.
How you do this right here, man?
How you do this right here, man? Yeah.
And there's that little like clicking sound in there, but that just kind of adds to the atmosphere.
Do this right
The
here.
thing you're really going for here is like sonic texture more than everything. Like, I don't really care exactly what these 2 voices are saying. I was more just focused on like how it kind of adds to the atmosphere of the track and what that does. So
do this right here, man. Yeah. I'll get at you when I met you.
You can hear, and there's like the little like kind of river, or not river sounds in there. There's like some kind of like water sounds in there.
I'll get at you when I
Or like some kind of, they were like in a forest in this scene. There's some kind of sounds in the background. But all that is adding to the background of your track, and all that is like, that's the idea, is like you're using it all to build up this big sonic world, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. So the real key to these, again, is just find like a little snippet, and it doesn't matter so much what they're saying, unless you're trying to say something specific. But as far as just getting this character of vocals, just find something that has like a cool texture to it, and just start pitching it around. I wouldn't do too much with processing, like adding like distortion or reverb or something like that. That was something else I wanted to talk about, is like Burial isn't really doing that with a lot of these samples. With these 2 kinds of vocal chopping, I think he does. But with this style, he's not like distorting them or adding chorus or like putting reverb or like any kind of stuff like that. It's really just about getting the sound, maybe pitching it a little bit. Sometimes he doesn't even pitch them. Sometimes he just puts the snippets in with no effects or anything, no processing. But pitch them around, get them right, and then that's it. You don't want to do a whole lot to it because it just it tends to sound better the less you do, I find. And that's pretty much all I can say about that. But anyway, guys, yeah, there we go. There's 3 styles of vocal chopping like Burial. If you guys like this video, please let me know in the comments. If you have any suggestions as well, I appreciate it. Like this video, subscribe, share this video if you think it's really good. And yeah, check out my sample packs as well. They're in the description. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.
You this right here, man. Yeah. I'll get at you when I met you.